This is Ken Smith reminding you it happened today, September 8th. But the year was 1504. Michelangelo's statue, the David, is finished and presented to the public in Florence, Italy, on this day, 1504. It was on this day Ferdinand Magellan, who will be remembered for circumnavigating the world, the first to do so. But the story is he left with a fleet of 5 vessels headed to discover the rest of the globe. He faced storms and mutinies. He made it through what would be called the Strait of Magellan into a body of water he named the Peaceful Sea, the Pacific Ocean. When the expedition reached the Philippine Islands, Magellan was killed during the Battle of Mactan. The expedition later reached the Spice Islands, and only one of the surviving ships eventually returned home through the Indian Ocean, completing the first circumnavigation of the globe. The Spanish navigator Juan de Elcano returned to Spain, completing the first circumnavigation of the world, 1522. It was on this day a barn fire during a puppet show in the village of Burwell, England, kills 78 people, many of whom were children, 1727. It was on this day the Battle of Lake George, a slaughter, bodies thrown into what would be called Bloody Pond. That happened today, 1755. It was on this day Abraham Lincoln, in a speech, said, "You may fool all of the people some of the time. You can even fool some of the people all the time. But you can't fool all the people all the time." 1858. It was on this day the Pledge of Allegiance first appears in a book, The Youth's Companion, 1892. 6,000 people were killed when a hurricane and tidal wave struck Galveston, Texas on this day, 1900. It was on this day that President Woodrow Wilson signs the Emergency Relief Act, doubling the rate of income tax, 1916. It was on this day that Germany begins the blockade of Leningrad, now known as St. Petersburg, in Russia during World War II. One of the most devastating events of the war would lead to starvation and cannibalism, 1941. It was on this day Alfred Hitchcock's movie Psycho is released, 1960. On this day, Star Trek first premieres on NBC TV starring William Shatner, 1966. On this day, President Gerald Ford pardons former President Richard Nixon of all criminal crimes, 1974. It was on this day an estimated 1 million people attend a mass held by Pope Francis in Madagascar, 2019. And so there's good news and bad news, confusing news, as we look back on this day. But today, it's good to remember that this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is Ken Smith reminding you it happened today, September 8th.